It's time now for What the Farage, and the Home Secretary's bid to stop Britain's migrant surge continued today with a pledge to crack down on overseas students bringing family members to the UK from January 2024. Suella Braverman said the economic benefit of foreign students should not come at the expense of Tory manifesto promises to slash migration. But the tough plan came as ministers braced themselves for eye-watering net migration numbers to top a staggering 1 million people this year. The record high figure, made up of those entering the UK minus those leaving, is set to eclipse the previous peak of 504,000 set in the year to June 2022. So, Nigel, look, folks seem out to get Suella Braverman this week. There's been a lot of claims that I believe is spurious. Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that she seems to be the only person around that cabinet table who genuinely wants to reduce net migration?
Yes, I think her problem is twofold. Number one, of course, the Blob want to get her, and they're doing very well, aren't they? They've got Dominic Raab out of politics. Boris Johnson, yet more reports going into the police today. I mean, goodness knows why now. So, yes, of course. But, Dan, here's the big one. The real truth is the Tory party want to get rid of her too. Please do not believe any rhetoric you hear from any modern-day Conservative Prime Minister that they want to reduce net migration. They don't. It is the great immigration lie put to us in general elections in 2010, 2015, 2017, but worst of all, 2019. Johnson, having made the pledge to reduce numbers, and we had some very interesting insight from Nick Timothy, a former number 10er, this week, he actually phoned his ministers to say, don't campaign on this, I don't believe in it. Who put in place the most liberal immigration system in the world post-Brexit? Boris Johnson. You can come into this country and take certain jobs on £10,000 a year less than the minimum wage. So much for skilled migration. Who put in place the idea that students could bring dependents? So the university gets the money, but the country has to pick up the health bills and everything else. I'm sorry to say, and I think this Thursday will mark a moment when we know we cannot believe the Conservative Party on immigration, and when the argument, well, Labour would be worse, doesn't hold any water anymore. Suella Braverman, I think, is genuine.
She is.
Sincere.
Yeah.
Actually believes in what she says, and that makes her an inconvenience. I mean, Gillian Keegan, the education secretary, wants unlimited numbers.
Yeah. She says bring them in. Well Nigel, it's funny. It's as if Rishi Sunak's been listening to you, Nigel, because he has begun the damage control right now. I have just been handed a piece he is writing for tomorrow's Daily Telegraph. Let me share some of it with you, Nigel, and you can react for the first time live on air. Sunak says it's not just a question of legality. We can't have uncontrolled legal migration either. That's unfair too. It leads to unmanageable pressures on housing, schools and hospitals in many of our communities. And when it is too high and too fast, it can make it difficult for communities to integrate new arrivals. I mean, he could be reading a monologue from the Nigel Farage show on GB News, but you're saying we can't trust what he's saying.
Well, isn't that remarkable from a career politician? Tell the people what they need to hear at the last minute. By the way, is this the same Rishi Sunak who on the plane to the G7 in Japan just a few days ago wouldn't commit to reducing net migration to below 500,000? I do not believe a word this man says. I think he is the most insincere spinner we've seen since Tony Blair in number 10. He doesn't believe a word of it, but that's okay. Feed red meat to the voters, forget our past failures, and election after election, we believe them. I don't believe after Thursday we will anymore. This is all the great Conservative immigration lie. And I'm sorry to use that word, but I really mean it.